Jim Irsay, let's start with him. And just overall, I don't think it's great business. As I just said, I'm all for saying what you think. And right now, if you talk to GMs and coaches off the record, they would tell you the reason we're not paying running backs is because we can find them pretty easily. It's supply, demand, it's basic economics. The other thing is like, just pay them more. If you're listening to this right now and you're looking for a home, would you pay $1.5 million for a home that had an exact comp a month ago sell for $900,000? Of course not, right? Football contracts are all based on comps, and your comps are your positions. The reason quarterbacks keep making more, or safeties keep making more, or wide receivers, or any other positions is because it's based on the previous contract for that position. When it comes to running backs, one, I would say the last 4 or 5 years hasn't exactly been the greatest era of running backs. This isn't exactly Marshall Faulk, LT, and Adrian Peterson walking through this door. Good players. Derrick Henry, awesome little run. McCaffrey looked like a star before he got injured. But there was a little period for 2 or 3 years where it just felt like it slowed down. While all the other positions, every year or every other year, it felt like improving at those positions. And there are a lot of different variables, a lot of factors. College isn't producing as many, but it's just based on the comps in the league. And right now, the comps in the league speak for themselves. This isn't some collusion of teams not wanting to pay these players. If you want to extend a running back, the cost is the cost, $11, $12 million. But why would I extend a player? I said this the other day about safeties, and someone came back to me like, Derwin James makes $20 million a year. One, he got, I think, a little over $40 million guaranteed. And two, Derwin James, when healthy, is dramatically better than basically every safety in the league beside, Minkah Fitzpatrick, right? I mean, it's a very, very small list. He is a guy that every team in the league would want because he does everything. And he makes whatever, $19, $20 million a year. But to me, I always say this, the average per year is a little overrated. What guaranteed money are you getting? What guaranteed dollars? And when you look at the safeties, for example, the overwhelming majority are between $25 and $35 million guaranteed, which is nothing in this day and age. When you look at Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, like those guys are over 70. When you look at what Bosa's about to get, and then Micah Parsons is going to get, and Joey Bosa got, we're talking 100, Myles Garrett, we're talking $100+ million. The guarantee, because when you can make $9, $15, $20 million a year, when you have no more guaranteed, this is Zach Martin's issue, you can just get rid of me at any time. I don't actually have job security. As we see in the NFL, job security is based on guaranteed dollars. Because if you don't have the guaranteed dollars, you can cut me, throw me to the side, and just move on. And so Jim Irsay right now, but back to the owners. Just before we dive in specifically to Jim Irsay, I don't think it's productive to have your owners talking about contract situations. I know technically Jerry is the GM, but ultimately he's the guy that signs the check. You have Will McVay, I think his name is, and McCarthy. Like when it comes to your football team, once the season starts, just let them do it. Now, that's not Jerry's deal. He talks all the time, and Jim Irsay does too. And I think it can make business very difficult. Like, would it help the 49ers if Jed York just tweeted like, yeah, we think Nick's asking for a little much. We know he's an all-time great player, and we definitely are not going to trade him, and we are willing to pay him, but we got to have a number in mind. That would just create a controversy and a story that doesn't need to be had. So when Jim Irsay, Jim clearly has some demons in his life. I mean, just several years ago, he was caught with pills and a bunch of cash. And sometimes when you hear him talk, you're like, is this guy back on the sauce? Listen, we all deal with different things. I'm not trying to shit on the guy. But I would say Jim Irsay doesn't feel like the most stable individual all the time. So yesterday, when it was reported that Jonathan Taylor, who is demanded a trade, we'll get into in a second, but a high character, really, really good player, going into year 4 of his professional career, was not a first-round pick, so this is technically the last year of his deal. They don't have a 5th-year option to pick up, and wants to get paid. The problem is he wants $16 million. Like we said, contracts are all based on comps. Who are we comparing? Like $16 million based on what? Some just arbitrary number? That's not the way it works. So Irsay had snapped back on social media, saying basically there was a CBA negotiated. Now these running backs and their agents are kind of going rogue. They're operating in bad faith. So then Jonathan Taylor, who wants the contract, goes to Irsay, which I can't even imagine being Chris Ballard or being a member on the coaching staff, knowing that a guy that's very, very important to this team's success is walking into that guy's office. Here's the other variable on the team. They have a young quarterback who I'm sure you probably saw the throw that he made on the run across his body go viral. Part of the reason he was drafted number 4 overall based on his, limited college success. Very, very talented guy. But he's also a rookie, and there's a lot of moving parts as a rookie. So to have this going on with a guy that in theory should help him out a lot is not ideal. Like, this is a little bit of a chaotic situation. And I would say post Peyton Manning, they have been just kind of very chaotic despite having some success. And I think one common theme with the chaos in Indy is Irsay. And I don't even disagree with Irsay. Like, Jonathan, we're not paying you $16 million a year. We're also not trading you, because he came out and said we're not trading you. But when he says that if Jonathan Taylor disappeared from the league and I died, no one would notice, he's not even wrong. If Jonathan Taylor never played another snap, beside Colts fans, like, most people wouldn't notice. The league would go on. Hell, the Colts might have some random undrafted free agent run for 1,200 yards. Welcome to football. The problem is him dealing with this situation is just not needed. There's a reason you pay a GM $5 million. There's a reason you pay a coach $8 to $15 million. This is why you pay them. When you start meddling, when you start micromanaging these situations, you just make it worse. These scenarios, especially with running backs, emotions are really high. And anytime emotions are really high when it comes to business, what's the number one thing they tell you about business? Remove the emotion. Isn't that something Uncle Colin has said for a decade plus? Take the emotion out of it. Take a deep breath. That's the way you're supposed to do business. Now, I understand it's easier said than done when the business is yourself, right? Hell, I'm in business. I'm the business, right? I mean, so it is a little more emotional. It's not like some company that's just producing widgets and you don't actually have, like, there's an assembly line. That's not the way this works. Jonathan Taylor is a human. He thinks he's undervalued. He knows the team needs him for them to have success. But to me, Irsay's just making it worse. Even if factually and objectively, he's not totally wrong about a lot of the things that he's saying. But he's almost like throwing kerosene on the fire and making it more difficult for his rookie quarterback. Chaos. Rookie coach. Chaos. Ballard's seen it all, but how are you supposed to do business in this environment? And this is why he clearly, it feels like post Peyton Manning, got like cockier is the wrong word, more arrogant, just more his self-worth in terms of the organization has, for whatever reason, gone up, and thinks that he needs to dabble in things that he probably shouldn't be dabbling in.